In this third installment of All the Gear, No Idea, I prove that sometimes third time is the charm as I review the Salomon Adv Skin 12. So if you've seen my other two videos in this series, you'll know exactly what this is about. But if you haven't, welcome to the channel. And this is how I landed on my third running vest in the space of a few months. So back in 2024, I'd started doing 10k runs, both trail and on road. And I was starting to think about doing ultra marathons, and I knew I'd need a running vest for it. I made a purchase for a running vest purely on a whim. It turned out to be quite a poor choice. I then came back from that, did a little bit more online shopping, came up with a slightly more informed choice, which was good for the kind of 50k and below bracket. Beyond that, it was too limited. Before finally, on the third attempt, striking it lucky with my Salomon vest. Now, this wasn't, I'm going to say now, the most researched purchase. All I did was I knew I needed a new set of running shoes. I was going to Runners Retreat in Marlow, which is a really great running store. I highly recommend them. And whilst I was on their website looking at what brand shoes they had, I also looked at what kind of brands they did for running vests, and they only had two. Salomon was the slightly more pricey product, and I cannot for the life of me remember what the other one was, but it was slightly cheaper. So while I was down there, I thought, right, I know I'll come away with a set of trainers. I was about to do the Thames Path Challenge, 100k. So I was like, if needs be, I can just about survive with the Best 5 litre that I had, but I knew I needed something with more capacity. When I went to Runners Retreat, the slightly lower cost brand just didn't quite fit right. And then I tried on the Salomon, which, of course, the more expensive one bore fruit. So, as you can see, this footage of them, I've had this vest for 2 years now, and I absolutely love it. It's got me through a couple of more ultras. I've used it on a 50 as well. And what do I love about it? Well, Salomon do say that this is a vest purely built for around 60k onwards, and I can certainly see why. For 50k, I used it on the South Downs Way for 50k, and I felt like it was a little bit of overkill for that event. I could have easily got by, I think, with the Best 5 litre variant. But the Adv Skin 12, let's get it on, and I'll show you exactly why I love it. So the vest itself, it comes in the configuration that I like, which is to have two hydration flasks on the front. A couple of the vest types that I've looked at in the past only have the one. But I like having my primary hydration on the front and then a hydration bladder in the back as an emergency. The rear pocket holds up to a 2 litre hydration bladder, and these are 500 ml each. So I like to have one of water and then one of electrolyte, and I can see easily in front of me how much I'm drinking as I go through these ultra marathons. So I know if I'm drinking too much or too little. And then when I get to the aid stations, it's a lot quicker and less fuss to just quickly refill one of those than it is to pull the camel back out, unscrew it, fill it. So that is very much the emergency on the back. Equally, I like having more weight on my back than on my front. So as these get lighter, the weight keeps fairly centralized, which is great. And equally, nice and secure, held in by elastic tabs on the front, which is really, really good. And then pockets in front of the hydration bladders. You've got zip pockets as well for securing any really key kit, which is brilliant on both sides. And then on the sides, you've got these individualized pouches as well. And I love this. So when I set my kit up, I like to have all my snacks, all my short-term use stuff on the front. So that is my energy gels, my salt tablets, painkillers, if especially later on. Small like flapjacks or snacks can all be rammed into there and just grabbed as I need them. And then they also double up as my dump pouches for rubbish. I absolutely hate people who litter as they go around running. Luckily, the running community is pretty strong in it. But yeah, it's really good just knowing I've got my rubbish in there, and then as soon as I get to a bin, I can quickly put it out, put it away, and it's all good. In the back, I'll have all my kind of intermediate to long term on the run things for use. So a first aid kit if I need to retake my feet at the halfway point, spare socks, which I always change at halfway, talc, first aid kit, battery pack for my phone, all those kind of things will sit in the back. And noting that a lot of the ultras have a mandated kit list, and if you're not carrying any of those items, if you get spot checked, you can either get disqualified, removed from the course, or you can get a time penalty put against you. The 12-litre capacity in here is absolutely ideal for having all that stuff in. And like I said, I've used the Uto Best for a 100k race before. It was manageable, but my God, everything was rammed in there. And just to try and get my water bladder out was a nightmare, because I had to pretty much remove every item, refill my water bladder, get that back in, and then cram everything around it. This just gives me far more space to work with, which I absolutely love. Pros for this as well. So I mentioned you've got a hydration bladder space in the back, and what I love with the Salomon is it comes with this individualized pouch. So your water bladder can sit in here, you can chill it overnight, and this keeps it slightly cooler. And then you've got your hole in the bottom here for your pipeline to come out through. And this also just protects on the back. It stops the heat from your body heating that water up. It's a nice to do. It's nothing that's going to maybe affect me massively unless I'm going to do the Marathon de Sable. But it's just a nice little touch, and it can be easily removed to give you a little bit more space for your bladder, which is great. Talking about heat from the body, if you've seen my other videos, you know I readily admit it. After about 10 minutes of any warm-up, I start to get hot. I start to sweat. And this material on the vest, let's see if I can find a really obvious piece. Yeah, you can see the light getting through this mesh here. It's really light and breathable, which is far better than the Arctic Fit one that I had, which is more of a neoprene one. This is highly breathable. Yes, I sweat heavily anyway, but it just helps me regulate my body temperature that little bit more, which I will always appreciate. And like I said, other things I love about it, it's comfortable. I've worn this for 200k marathons. 15 hours on your feet, it gets a bit tiring. And I really come off the course. Yeah, my legs are tired. I'll be a bit sore across my shoulders, but I think that's more because I tense up a bit as I run. It's certainly not due to this. And on the front, the adjustable toggles as well to go across your chest just means I can get that ideal fit where it's not rubbing against my neck, it's not hanging too loose at the back, and I think it's just an all-round really great product to have. But with anything, there are a couple of not necessarily negatives, but things that I think could maybe for me would work better. First and foremost, I mentioned these side pouches. Whilst they are pretty good, it's basically one long compartment around each side with just some stitching in between. Things can slide through quite easily, so you end up having to fish round and dig around to get bits out. Or maybe I'd prefer if they were fully isolated pockets, but it's a minorism. The other thing I have is, I don't know if this was just because when I bought this, it was on a hanger. It didn't come with any pre-packaging or any instructions. So when it came to fitting my own water bladder, I found it quite difficult at first to figure out exactly where the hose should go. I always prefer to have the hose come over one of my shoulders and be clipped in or across. Obviously, there's no chest clip on these because it's an elasticated kind of corset design, but there's equally no straps down these shoulder lines for me to feed a hose through. And I had to go onto YouTube and watch a video to see actually it has to come through and up through one of these side pouches here. Not the end of the world, but I don't really like having to fish down and bring it up to me when I could just have it on my shoulder across. The other thing to do with the water bladder is tied in with the cost. So this vest, whilst I absolutely love it, was £120, which if I hadn't bought the other two vests, is all right for an investment. For £120, I almost think it would have been great to come with a hydration bladder in it, just because it would be bespoke to this, ideal size, ideal shape, all that good stuff. I have a lot of camelbacks, and I do find that they don't sit as nicely in here as I'd like. So I'll probably have to go and buy another bladder that is Salomon approved or works better with the Salomon vests. Yeah, it's pennies in comparison to the vest, but it's just extra investment that I ideally wouldn't like to make. But on the whole, if all I'm whinging about is slightly awkward pipeline, pockets could be better, I've done well. Is this going to be the only vest I buy? I don't know. I really love this one, but I am looking towards doing some 100 miles in the future, maybe something beyond that. I think this is great up to 100k. I've now got to see whether there's some bigger variants that may work for me, or whether I just need to factor in using this for the first half of a course and having a stash bag, which I've never done before, and just replanning my kit at the halfway point, utilize some of my rest time while I'm refueling and changing my socks, etc., just to refill this and carry on, or whether I need something with a larger capacity. I do know in the short term I have absolutely no intent of buying something to replace this, because for my 100Ks, I think I'm just going to use this every single time for the near future. The only other thing I would add actually is this, I don't think comes with any way of securing the kind of running poles. That would maybe, if I was to do the North or South Downs Way or the Jurassic Coast, I'd want to have poles. I might be looking at whether there's something, a sheath that I can attach to this, or a separate carry case just for those kind of inclines, because I suck at hills. That would be the other thing I'd look at, or whether there's a pack that has that all included. That might be better for me for those kind of events. But yeah, I would say if you're looking to get into ultras and you're looking for a vest to buy, top tip, I would suggest, if you're going to go and spend this level of money, 80 quid onwards, I would highly recommend going into a shop and trying on the vest, because the one that I tried that was slightly lower cost just didn't feel as comfortable, didn't feel as good. I knew what I was getting for my money because of that. If you just blindly buy, you might find that you've not bought the ideal setup, and you've just got to then return it, find another one. It's just lost time. But hopefully this has been useful for you, and I have more All the Gear No Idea videos coming, because I make all the mistakes so you don't have to. But cheers for your time, and have a